Good evening, everybody. It's 11 p.m. on January 8, 2024. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome newcomers and welcome everybody back to my channel. Feel free to share this if you're inclined to do so. Now, I'm going to talk about a lawsuit. It was filed September 18, 2023. I'm not sure if you heard about it. It's case 3:CV-30095. It's 185 pages long. Before I get into it, please hit the thumbs up. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading, exposing one criminal at a time. This is a really important lawsuit. It's an important lawsuit for everybody, particularly targeted people. If you know that you're on a watch list, if you suspect you're on a watch list, if you suspect that a friend or family member is on a watch list, if you're concerned that you might be placed on a watch list in the future, you need to know about this lawsuit. It was filed in the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts. However, the plaintiffs were from multiple states. And let me read to you first the story on this lawsuit. Okay, so 12 Muslim Americans, including a mayor, sue to end use of the secret FBI watch list. And this is in the Iran online news and information about Somalia. Let's see, it was dated September 20th, 2023 by Michael Hernandez. A group of 12 Muslim Americans, including a long-time New Jersey mayor, sued the Justice Department on Monday in an attempt to end its use of a secretive FBI watch list that they describe as a quote-unquote de facto Muslim registry. The suit filed in the United States District Court of Massachusetts said that by placing the individuals on the terrorist screening data set, the federal government has sentenced, quote-unquote, the plaintiffs to lifetime second-class citizenship. That placement designates them as worthy of permanent suspicion and imposes sweeping consequences that alter nearly every aspect of plaintiffs' lives, the lawsuit says. It alleges that the plaintiffs have suffered harms, including public humiliation, surveillance, harassment during travel, job denial, and being effectively exiled from the United States. And says the list itself is a de facto Muslim registry with over 98% of the publicly identified individuals on it being Muslim. Now, that's really interesting, folks. Publicly identified, and we'll get into how they know that. The suit further maintains that even after an individual is removed from the list, they suffer a lifetime of deleterious ripple effects. The stigma and harm of watch listing placement lasts a lifetime, even if defendants eventually decide that an individual does not meet the vague, all-inclusive standard for placement and choose to remove an individual from the watch list, it says. It names Attorney General Merrick Garland, FBI Director Christopher Wray, the U.S. Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle, Cheatle, Assistant Attorney General for the National Security Division Matthew Olson, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines, and others as co-defendants. Addressing reporters of the Council on American Islamic Relations, which is CAIR, advocacy group in Washington, D.C. headquarters, their staff attorney, Hannah Mullen, said the plaintiffs have been swept into a watch list because the standards for watch list inclusion are vague, rubber-stamped at best, and in practice are used to target and discriminate against Muslims. Now, I want to say something here. These group of individuals were able to locate a group, this Council of American Islamic Relations. It's an advocacy group in Washington. They were able to hire them as their advocacy group to file this lawsuit in every state that those plaintiffs reside, which is phenomenal. So what we need to do is locate an advocacy group that would be willing to file a lawsuit on behalf of multiple people. So now it's claiming, this is a quote, that over 98% of the names on portions of the watch list that were leaked in 2019 are identifiably Muslim. That did not happen by accident, she said. Federal government considers the very fact of being Muslim to be suspicious and puts people on a watch list as a result of their Muslim identity, Islamic religious beliefs, Islamic religious practices, travel to Muslim majority countries, and other discriminatory factors. None of our clients have ever been indicted or convicted of terrorism-related crime, she added. The remaining names on the list, some 1 to 2%, are comprised of people convicted of terrorist attacks, including the 1995 sarin bombing in Tokyo, jailed Colombian revolutionaries, and an Irish Republican Army bomber, according to CAIR. The plaintiffs include Prospect Park, New Jersey Mayor Mohammed Karula, forgive me for mispronouncing that, Karula, who was disinvited from a White House EID celebration at the last minute in May, and Michael Migliori, a Muslim American who resides in Saudi Arabia, Nidal El Takash, a Michigan resident, and 9 others. Addressing reporters in New Jersey, Karula said he has not been officially informed why his name is on the leaked list, nor definitely told that he was removed, and said that the fact that we are refused access to the White House indicates that this watch list has a ripple effect. Quote, it violates my constitutional right as an American to due process because there are people out there who think I'm a bad person, he said. This was caused by the U.S. government. The U.S. government needs to clear my name and the names of others who are being harassed and intimidated, unquote. So I'm going to get on to the lawsuit. And it's raining here, by the way, folks. I just want to let you know that it started about an hour and a half ago. So it's, it's steady, but kind of light right now. It's supposed to pick up. So let me read again the plaintiffs. So there's Merrick Garland, the Attorney General of the United States Department of Justice, in his official capacity only. Christopher Wray, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I have a hard time saying investigation, guys. It's my favorite Bureau of Investigation. In his official capacity only. Michael Glasheen, Director of the Terrorism Screening Center in his official capacity only. Kimberly Cheadle, Director of the United States Secret Service, in her official capacity only. Matthew Olson, Assistant Attorney General, National Security Division, United States Department of Justice, in his official capacity only. Susan Davies, Acting Assistant Attorney General, Office of Legal Policy, United States Department of Justice. Peter Wynn, Acting Chief Privacy and Civil Liberties Office of Privacy and Civil Liberties, the U.S. Department of Justice. Avril Haines, Director of National Intelligence, Officer of the Director of National Intelligence. Christine Abizade, Director of National Counterterrorism Center, Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Alejandra Mayorkas, Secretary of Homeland Security, United States Department of Homeland Security. Troy Miller, Acting Commissioner, United States Customs and Border Protection. David Pikoski, Administrator, Transportation Security Administration. Jadot, Director, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Patrick Leitner, Acting Director, United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Shobha Wadhiya, Office of Civil Rights and Civil Liberties, United States Department of Homeland Security. Kenneth Weinstein, or Steen, is the Undersecretary, Office of Intelligence and Analysis, the United States Department of Homeland Security. Jonathan Mayer, General Counsel, United States Department of Homeland Security. Kellyanne Bureshki, Deputy Undersecretary, Office of Strategy, Policy and Plans, United States Department of Homeland Security. Wow, a lot of Homeland Security folks here, guys. Mason Clutter, Chief Policy Officer, Policy Office, United States Department of Homeland Security. Shawnee Lyon, Director, Office of Biometric Identity Management, United States Department of Homeland Security. These people did their homework, guys. They did their homework. They're getting everybody. They're snagging everybody here. Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, United States Department of State. Yeah, I need to sue that piece of crapola, too. I filed a complaint. They said it to the FBI. And after that was done, all of my evidence, all the sound was wiped clean from all of my videos. We'll go through that another time. Hillary Badier Johnson, Deputy Coordinator for Homeland Security, Screening and Designations, Bureau of Counterterrorism, United States Department of State. In her official capacity only. Lloyd Austin, Secretary of Defense, the United States Department of Defense. In his official capacity only. Paul Nakasone, Commander, United States Cyber Command, Director, National Security Agency Chief, Central Security Service, United States Department of Defense, in his official capacity only. Scott Barriere, Director, Defense Intelligence Agency. Pete Buttigieg, excuse me for butchering that, Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, United States Department of Transportation. Himam Ali Das, Acting Director, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, United States Department of Treasury. Andrea Gaki, Director, Office of Foreign Assets Control, United States Department of Treasury, in her official capacity only. William Burns, the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, in his official capacity only. Wow, I think they hit up everybody, don't you think, guys? They pretty much hit up everybody. All those ABC agencies. Well, wait a minute, DARPA's not there, guys. Well, maybe they're not being experimented on yet. Okay, so the complainant for injunctive relief, declaratory relief and damages. Jury trial is demanded. They list the names of all the plaintiffs. And by and through their attorneys, the CAIR Legal Defense Fund, the CAIR Massachusetts, CAIR New Jersey, CAIR Michigan State, as follows. The plaintiffs are law-abiding Muslim American citizens, lawful permanent residents, and asylees. They work hard, they pay their taxes, they pursue their education and care for their families. They have never been indicted, charged, or convicted of any terrorism-related offense, and yet, without any notice or explanation, the federal government extrajudicially sentenced them to lifetime second-class citizenship. Like thousands of other innocent Americans and over 1.5 million people around the world, almost all of them Muslim. They've got that number wrong, guys. That's so wrong. Almost all of the Muslims, that's not true either. It's not true either. Plaintiffs have been placed in the terrorist screening data set. They're calling it the data set, not the database. TSDS, known colloquially as the Federal Terrorist Watch List. That placement designates them as worthy of permanent suspicion and imposes sweeping consequences that alter nearly every aspect of plaintiffs' lives. As a result of being watch-listed, plaintiffs have suffered a wide range of harms, including being publicly humiliated, surveilled, and harassed when they traveled, persecuted from attending weddings, funerals, graduations, and other milestone events, separated from their children, denied jobs, security clearances, and U.S. citizenship, visas, gun licenses, and other government benefits, and even effectively exiled from the United States. Plaintiffs were placed on the Federal Terrorist Watch List by defendants' interagency watch listing system, which evaluates individuals for inclusion under a vague, rubber stamp at best standard that is satisfied nearly 100% of the time. Plaintiffs were not notified of their nomination to or inclusion in the watch list. They have no idea why the government considers them worthy of permanent suspicion. They have no opportunity to dispute the government's decision or confront the supposedly derogatory information on which their placement is based, and are baffled by the defendant's apparent determination that they are, quote, known or suspected terrorists, unquote. Plaintiffs suffer life-altering consequences from their watch list status because defendants widely distribute the watch list and make it known that listed individuals should be treated as dangerous threats. Defendants send the watch list to federal agencies, over 18,000 state and local law enforcement agencies, over 500 private entities, and dozens of foreign countries, all of which take actions to harm and stigmatize listed individuals, including plaintiffs, as well as the listed individuals' friends, family, and other associations. The stigma and harm of watch listing placement lasts a lifetime, even if defendants eventually decide that the individual does not meet the vague, all-inclusive standard for placement. And let's say they even choose to remove the individual from the watch list. Several agencies still retain records of past watch list status and continue to use the historic status to deny formally listed individuals, including the plaintiff named Muhammad Karula, government benefits like Social Security, security clearances, employment, access to government buildings, and other licenses, permissions for the rest of their lives. In other words, once an individual is placed on the Federal Terrorist Watch List, they are branded a second-class citizen for life. Even if the government eventually realizes that the individual should not have been placed on the list in the first place. Well, I'm going to add, it's not a second-class citizen for life. It's a non-citizen for life, meaning there's no due process, and there are no rights at all. Plaintiff Mohammed Karula, for example, was placed on the federal terrorist watch list in 2019. After suffering years of enhanced screening, unreasonable delays, electronic device searches, and interrogations while traveling, Mr. Karula was taken off the watch list. But defendants continue to retain the records of his past status and use that past status to harm him. As a result, the U.S. Secret Service barred him from entering the White House and attending an Eid al-Fitr celebration earlier this year. I'm just going to add something here. I know this is going to sound really crass and mean-spirited. Hey, at least your house is not getting broken into. At least you're not being experimented on illegally. At least you're not being stolen from. These chemicals aren't being sprayed in your home. Nanotechnology. At least they're not experimenting on your kids yet. At least they're not murdering your pets, putting you to sleep, poisoning your food. I digress. Defendants placed plaintiffs and over 1.5 million other individuals on federal terrorist watch lists. That number is so wrong. It's so underrated. I don't know where they got that number from. On the federal terrorist watch list, even though they know that the watch list inclusion standards are so permissive, pliable, and discriminatory that they bear a vanishingly small connection to actual terrorist activities, rendering the watch list completely ineffective at protecting national security. Well, that's for sure. Rather than an effective tool for protecting the United States, Watchlist operates as a de facto Muslim registry. Well, I'm going to add something here. It's not only a de facto, it's not just a Muslim registry. The majority of people on the watch list are female. That's been proven time and time again. It's close to around 70% are women. And I'm sure many of them are Muslim women, but a lot of them are Christian women, Catholic women, black women, all kinds of women. Mostly over the age of 40. But they're adding younger and younger ones, like the 20-year-olds on TikTok. But they're mostly women. But I understand what this lawsuit is about. And I really do hope you win this lawsuit. Because if you win this lawsuit, it's going to be a win for everybody. And I applaud you for this lawsuit. And it is very extensive. Obviously, I'm not going to read 185 pages, but I'm going to read a little bit more. So you get a little bit of this so that you have the wherewithal to read into this lawsuit and save it. Follow it. It's also extremely well written. And they have placed as defendants pretty much everybody under the sun. For most targeted people, though, real targeted people, other than being, on the no-fly list or whatever, you would need to add DARPA onto this list, and likely a couple of other agencies. But it's quite exhaustive. They did a fantastic job naming defendants, that's for sure. So rather than an effective tool for protecting the United States, the watch list operates as a de facto Muslim registry. Over 90% of the names on leaked portions of the watch list from 2019 are Muslim. And that did not happen by accident. Defendants intentionally use impermissible and inaccurate religious profiles to nominate, accept, disseminate, and deploy the watch list against Muslims. Hey guys, who knows? Maybe they inaccurately, religiously mislabeled some of us. You never know. Defendants consider origin from Muslim majority countries, travel to Muslim majority countries, attending mosques and Islamic events, zakat donations to Muslim charities, the wearing of typical Muslim dress, Muslim sounding names, the frequency of Muslim prayer, adherence to Islamic religious practices, Islamic religious study, the transfer of money to individuals residing in Muslim majority countries, affiliations with Muslim organizations, and associations with Muslim in the United States or abroad to be suspicious and routinely nominate Muslims to the watch list or on the basis of those characteristics and activities. I'm biting my tongue, folks. I'm just biting my tongue right now. I want to say something, but I'm not going to say it right now. The federal government uses guilt by association presumptions to place family members, friends, traveling companions, and associates of listed persons under intense surveillance and on the watch list. Many Americans, including children, end up targeted by the watch listing system based on who their mother or father is, what mosque their family attends, and how they exercise their constitutional rights, where they travel, with whom they associate, and on the basis of their perceived religious beliefs. Leaked government documents, as well as public governmental reports, reveal that the federal government's terrorist watch listing system is discriminatory, standardless, and devoid of adequate procedures. Defendants create, maintain, administer, and use the watch listing system without congressional approval and oversight, targeting plaintiffs and thousands of other American Muslims in their shadowy corners of federal agency power. Each of the plaintiff's injuries are directly attributable to defendants' compilation, implementation, and discrimination of the federal terrorist watch listing system. Then it goes on to list the plaintiffs. Okay, I'm not going to get into this. They list every plaintiff, stating the plaintiff is a U.S. citizen and a Muslim residing in, like for instance, New Jersey, U.S. citizen and a Muslim residing in Saudi Arabia, U.S. citizen and Muslim residing in Michigan, residing in Virginia, another one in Michigan, one in Germany, Missouri, Tennessee, Massachusetts, New Mexico, Alabama, New Hampshire. They all live in different states. Then they go on to discuss the defendants. They list the names of the defendants, their job title, and what they do relating to the watch list. And I'm only up to page 10 here. So now they're listing all of these defendants, right, in their capacity. Now I'm going to just scroll all the way down to the bottom because it's 185 pages long. Then, of course, they go into all the times that they were detained at the airport, the kinds of questions that they were asked. Here's one. This is item number 565, page 105. 2 plainclothes FBI agents entered the room where Mr. El Taka was being interrogated. The FBI agents asked him about WhatsApp messages that he received from an organization that helps register Arab Americans to vote. They also questioned him about Hezbollah and who he knew in the organization. After completing their interrogation of Mr. El-Taka, the two CRP officers who escorted him from the plane left. Mr. El-Taka was then interrogated by two more FBI agents who were dressed in civilian clothes, who did not identify themselves. Finally, he was interrogated by additional FBI agents. In total, the interrogation lasted 6 hours, and Mr. El-Taka's family was left waiting for him at the airport and wondering where he was. Oh, that's terrible. That's unbelievable. Mr. El-Taka left the questioning feeling traumatized and afraid for his safety. When Mr. El-Taka was released from questioning, the CBP officers refused to return his phone, which they confiscated. In March of 2022, Mr. El-Taka traveled from Detroit Metro Airport in Michigan to Cancun International Airport in Mexico. He was traveling with his wife and children. When he attempted to print his family's boarding passes, the process took over an hour. Oh, that happened to me when my mother died and I had to fly to New York. I couldn't get my boarding passes. I couldn't print them out here. I had a hard time printing them out at the airport. When the family received their boarding passes, the boarding passes for Mr. El-Taka and his wife and their 13-year-old son were stamped with SSSS, indicating that they were designated as known or suspected terrorists. Is that amazing? At the TSA security checkpoint, TSA officers pulled Mr. El-Taka aside and thoroughly searched all of his luggage. They also subjected Mr. El-Taka and his son to invasive, full-body pat-downs. It took Mr. El-Taka and his family over an hour to undergo the searches and pat-downs. When Mr. El-Taka and his family arrived at the gate, they found the TSA officers waiting for them. The TSA officers patted the family down and searched all of their luggage in full view of other passengers. Oh, how embarrassing. When Mr. El-Taka and his family entered the jet bridge to board the plane, the TSA officers once again fully patted them down and searched their luggage in full view of other passengers. That's a third time they searched their luggage. Later in 2022, Mr. El-Taka and his family returned from Cancun International Airport to Detroit Metro Airport with a layover in Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey. Oh, you poor thing. Layoff in Newark is never any fun. When the family arrived at the airport in Cancun, they went to the airline service desk to have their boarding passes printed. The airline agent contacted defendants to obtain clearance to print the family's boarding passes. At the security checkpoint, agents pulled Mr. El-Taka and his family aside and conducted pat-downs and searches of each of their persons and luggage. At Newark, when the family deplaned, they found the CBP officers waiting for them at the gate area. The CBP officers separated Mr. El-Taka from his wife and children and took them to be questioned separately. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But you and I know how this goes. I'm going to end here, folks. There's another article here. All you have to do is look up Muslim American mayor files lawsuit to end the terrorist watch list. American Muslim group files lawsuit to end FBI watch list. U.S. is sued over 20-year-old federal terrorist list by Muslim rights group. So here you go, folks. This is really important to take away from this lawsuit. Groups of people of the same ethnic background are being targeted. And what they did is they located a group, a Muslim rights group, to take over their cause and sue the government. So the takeaway that I have from here is that Muslims are not the only people being targeted here, folks. It appears as if they're being targeted very specifically in travel, watching where they travel and whatever. It doesn't sound like, or at least it's not mentioned, the targeting that you and I get. Okay, of course, maybe you and I, or we're not doing all that much traveling. It's a different form of targeting, but nevertheless it's the same. So why couldn't the 70% of women that are on the watch list locate a women's right organization? They all have lawyers on board to file a lawsuit on our behalf. Or how about the thousands of veterans that are targeted in this program? Are there not veteran support groups across the country that may have a legal department to file a lawsuit on your behalf? I'm just putting that out there to brainstorm. This is a lawsuit that we need to pay really careful attention to. It's written especially well. They dotted all their I's and E's and P's and Q's. And they did not only choose the FBI to sue. They made sure to get everybody at Homeland Security, Department of Defense, Department of Justice. They made sure to get everybody in there because they're all in on it. They're all involved. So anyway, this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I look forward to your comments. Do you have any ideas on civil rights groups? So like they have a Muslim rights group that has filed this lawsuit on their behalf. Are there other civil rights groups out there that would be willing to file lawsuits on behalf of certain individuals, let's say, groups of people? There's so many of us, right? But why couldn't there be, like this is 19, was it 19, 12, this is 12 people. Why couldn't there be several simultaneous lawsuits of 15 people, 20 people, 12 people? It would absolutely overwhelm the GOV. But anyway, I look forward to your comments down below. Please hit the thumbs up. I notice like a lot of people are watching the videos and I appreciate it and sharing it, but not enough people are hitting that button. Please hit it up there for me. Gets the message out there, combats the cyber stalkers that are downvoting the videos, and combats that algorithm. So I hope everybody's doing okay. It is raining really hard right now. Just wanted to give you the heads up on that. It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. And the winds are supposed to pick up. So I'm going to keep my eye on the storm, and I'll talk to you soon.